Good morning, RD fans, and welcome to part 4 of the RD400F Rebuild. Apologies, it's been a while since I posted on this one, but we've been waiting for various parts. Some of them are starting to get a bit difficult to get in genuine Yamaha. As you can see, the customer has purchased genuine Yamaha seals and gaskets and bearings, etc., which is refreshing. I'd always try and recommend using genuine Yamaha crank seals, certainly if you can, and base and head gaskets as well, to be fair. Head gaskets getting very, very thin on the ground at the moment. If you do turn some up, my advice would be hang on to them. Right, okay. Now, what I want to address before we start is a question that's been fired at me quite a lot over the past few months. It sort of comes around in circles as a subject. You know what it's like. Everybody's talking about one particular thing, and then it moves on to something else, and something else, and something else, and they all come back round again, don't they? Well, engines. People say to me, what's the best way to approach engine building, Julian? And the truth is, I don't know what the best way to approach engine building is. I know what my approach is. My approach is the factory approach. But I'm sure there's engine builders out there that'll say, a load of rubbish, I do it this way or I do it that way. And I'm sure they do with great success. But I do it my way. In actual fact, I do it Yamaha's way. If you think about it, even though these were a mass-produced bike, the engines were assembled by hand in the factory. And they were assembled to very exacting standards. Clearances, tolerances, torque settings, adjustments, etc., etc. And they were done that way. If you think about it, they had to be done that way because Yamaha's commercial success depended on it, as did all the other manufacturers. So any manufacturer has got to have a specific method of engine assembly that they know will be able to go out there and last long enough to hopefully to at least be running and enjoyed before lunatics like us thrash them to death and blow them up well prematurely of their intended service life. We've all been there, haven't we? We've all done it. How many times have we written off an engine that was only 5% of the way into its life? But yeah, well, we're older now, aren't we? We're a bit more mature, and we've got a bit more money invested in them as well. And a lot of these bikes are owned by people that are sort of trying to recapture their youth a bit. I have one of the bikes that they had when they was a kid. They treated it like it was a piece of junk, really, and just jumped on it, thrashed it cold, blew it up, dropped it, and eventually scrapped it or sold it on for spares or whatever, And something else I think most of us have done as well. But now we're paying many thousands of pounds for these bikes, and we're perhaps, I would hope, we're treating them with a bit more mechanical sympathy. Still a few hooligans out there, but anyway. So yeah, mechanical sympathy. Now, these engines were designed to be warmed up, before they were given a bit of beans. They were designed to run on decent oils. They were designed to be treated well and serviced at regular intervals, etc. Now, Yamaha, their approach to their engines was like everybody else, as I said. They've got to be reliable. They've got to last because their commercial reputation was dependent on it, and therefore the commercial success. So Yamaha went to the trouble of producing these books here. Now, if you think about it, the cost to Yamaha to print these up and ship them to every single dealer they had on the surface of the planet for every single model of bike they made, that's a massive investment. And they wouldn't do that were it not for the fact that the tolerances and the service information contained in these manuals is critical to the maintenance or the rebuilding, if necessary, of these engines. So my viewpoint is, if I build it to the factory spec, for example, you can see here all your crankshaft information, you've got all your dimensions, it's all listed here, and then over here we've got all your bore information, bore size, maximum bore size, taper limit, out of round or ovality as we call it over here, all that kind of thing, your piston clearances, it's all there, okay? Now, my viewpoint is if I build it the way Yamaha built it in the factory, then to that same specification, then the engine will be as good as it was when it came out of the factory. So that's how I do it. It might be right, it might be wrong. Other people will say, no, you don't need to do that, you don't need to do this, you can do this, that and the other. And they can do it their way. This is Julian's way. This is how I do it. Rightly or wrongly, this is how I do it. Okay? And nice and clean. Everything's got to be clean. You can't spend enough time getting old gasket material off and cleaning out the crap and the detritus that's built up in there over the years. There's that much sludge and what have you accumulates in the bottom of the gearbox and everything. Yeah, you've got to get the engine nice and spotlessly clean before you even attempt to start the job. Otherwise, you're just peeing into the wind, really. So that's my approach. That's how I do it. So this is a perfect example, really. Nice clean engine, manufacturer's parts, all the service data readily available. Okay, used it that many times, don't actually need the book now, but so yeah, that's how we're going to do this engine, and I'll give you an update as we go along. Get the bottom end built, and I'll probably do another video, and then maybe one at the end once it's actually finished off. But yeah, in answer to the question, what's the best approach to building engines, my answer to that would be the factory approach. So there you go, that's that. So that's part 4, and we'll hopefully have part 5 and part 6 over the next day or two. So until then, you know what to do. Keep it shiny side up.